Okay, in this video, what we're going to do is continue creating custom controls.
Yep.
This time around, we're going to be creating a slider custom control that is going to allow a user to interactively work with the slider control by simply clicking and then dragging left or right, changing a value between a minimum and maximum value
Right,
setting.
and it's actually going to modify a pointer that you pass to the class, which will allow us to, we can pass it for our particle engine. Simply pass it, say, the wind or something like that.
Right.
And then it will automatically adjust it in real time.
Awesome.
So let's go ahead and get started by doing, let me guess.
The standards.
Create header file. And here we'll call this slider. And for the next one, slider CPP file.
Slider. Back to the header file. If not defined, slider H. Define, slider H. End-F.
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 Nice.
Include
control.h.
Class.
Very good.
Slider inherit from public control.
Semicolon.
Yay.
So now, two sections. We have our public, and we also have our protected section. And what we're going to do here is basically create our slider, our constructor. Thank you.
Good.
We have a label for our slider, so we're going to pass it our label.
This time we're going to have some new things, like a minimum value, a maximum value, so that each slider you could create has different ranges. And then, of course, we need a width and a height.
Right. Actually,
let's put position first, just so that we kind of
stay consistent.
Yeah. And then the width and the height.
Let me just move this all down a little bit, and then our width and our height.
Cool.
Like so. And that's all we need. And also let us, yeah, that's good. I was just thinking of something else. So with that, we also need an accessory function that allows us to change our pointer that we're using. So we're going to call that setValue. And that's simply passing a pointer.
Now we can just jump over real quick to controls.h and grab the update control, draw control, and get type.
I'm just going to grab buttons.
Or buttons, or whoever's. Oh, yeah, that way you don't have to modify.
Yep.
How nice is that?
And another thing we're going to do is when you right-click on the control, it's going to restore it to its default value. And when you call setValue, it's actually going to set your default value. So we need to store that default value. So we'll say default value. We need to have our min and our max. So our min and our max. We also need to store our pointer, so just float current.
Okay.
And then we're also going to need a string label. And then we're going to have some other ones in here as well, but when we get to them, we'll start adding them in, so you know exactly how it works.
Okay.
So if we go back into our slider.cpp, let me go ahead and include my slider.h. Let me start implementing all of these functions. So if I copy and paste these in here, let me go ahead and implement this slider constructor really quickly here. Simply go to control, and pass it position X, position Y, and width and height.
Yay.
And then inside of here, what we need to do is basically set some of...
But I do have the question of why is there a terminator at the end of that? Thank you so much.
What terminator?
I didn't see one.
I didn't think you did.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right, so in our default value, we're going to set it to 0.
Okay.
Current is our pointer, and we'll set that to null. No, thank you. And we're going to set our max to what was passed to us, our min and max. And we'll just change these to
and that just stays consistent with all the other places we've used in.
All right. Have we used that a lot?
A few times, yeah.
I've typed so much that it's hard to remember.
Have.
So in max. And we also need to set our label. So label equals LBL. Let me go ahead and change that to LBL.
Nice.
Now let me go ahead and switch these over. Scope it in. Get rid of my virtuals.
I think your errors have been reduced by 80% now.
Yep. Let me go ahead and block these in as well.
Nice.
So in setValue, we need to do two things. First, set our pointer to equal the value. And then if the current does not equal null, just in case someone passed us in a null value, we'll set our default value equal to our current. Right?
Okay.
We dereference it and get the actual value that it's currently at. So whatever it comes in as is our default value. So, actually, let me come down to here. and delete that V that was there, and return our slider. Thank you. So in our update control, what do we need to do? Well, first we need to get our inside... Yeah.
I was just waiting to see if he was going to catch it. Look at get type. Come on.
Okay.
I know, you're testing.
I was just making sure you're still with me.
It's good.
All right. So to update control, we're going to call update control and pass it state, so our inside value is updated.
That's right.
And then we're going to do our int x equals state.
Just so that we set x and y now.
Right. And int y equals state dot y. And what we're going to do is basically calculate this. So what we have here, sorry, I just paused for a second here. So inside equals true. If we're inside of it, then go ahead and say if state dot if the left mouse button is pressed. Okay. So if left button down, and if left button is down, then go ahead and set dragging.
The reason he's pausing, guys, is because he's just getting to a few things that we haven't set up yet.
Right.
And I know what you're thinking. It's just like, all right, so what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. So basically, what we have here is state.left button down. So if it's down, start dragging.
Right.
And we need to define this over in our slider.h.
Precisely.
So let me go ahead and put this in here.
And it's just a bool, yeah.
Yep. And if I come back into our slider.cpp, let me go ahead and default that as well. Dragging equals false.
Just like the button, be kind of weird to start our application and the thing's
already dragging. Yeah, that would be very bizarre. And then else if, or just if, it doesn't make much of a difference, but if
we do the right button down.
Because we could be pressing them at the same time, so we do want a separate if.
Then we just need to set current to our default value.
Right, dereference current and set it to our default value.
Yep.
All right, so that's if we're inside. If we're no longer dragging, so if we just stop left mouse button clicking, so left button down.
Left button holding.
Yeah, all right. If we stop holding down the left mouse button, there we go.
Then we need to go ahead and set dragging to false.
Dragging equals to false. So, what if we are dragging? If dragging equals true, or just if dragging.
If dragging, yeah.
Then we need to actually calculate where exactly it's going to go. So all we need to do here is set our current equal to, we're going to cast it, and basically we have our width, right? And we need to calculate, his mouse is somewhere inside, right? So we need to calculate the x position and determine where inside of our range it is.
Right.
So we have our x minus our position x. So that's exactly where relative to our control it is. Mm-hmm. And we're going to divide that by our width. So this is a simple ratio, guys.
It's the same thing we did with the list box.
Right, essentially.
Just think about it. Yeah, basically.
And then we're going to take that and multiply by the max minus the min, so the total area we can have, and add that into our min. Mm-hmm. And that's going to give us where exactly we are inside of it. And then we're going to do a quick check. So if current is greater than max, then we need to go ahead and cap it back, so current equals max.
Basically, you've clicked your mouse button down, then drug all the way past the end.
Yep. So if current is less than min,
cap it at min.
Cap it at min. And this just prevents weird stuff from happening. And that's all we have there. So at this point, we have our, return dragging. Because this is very important, because basically, if we didn't actually return whether or not we're dragging, then another control could start taking control while we're dragging, and we just can't have that.
Right.
That would just be bad.
Now we've got some pretty serious drawing code to do here.
And I'm going to copy all of it from somewhere else.
How nice is that?
Let me just copy all of this, all the way to there, go over to our CPP, paste it in, and let's see. At this point, we have almost everything we need. We need basically two things. Well, actually, one thing that's really special in this one. We need a label, right? Mm-hmm. And we also need to specify where our little value is, our little tick mark is. So first off, we need to calculate where that tick mark is. So current x equals, and this is a lot like we did in the previous one as well. We need to calculate where exactly it is relative to inside this area. So we take our current minus our min, and divide that by our max minus our min. It's just a simple ratio, and then minus that by width minus 5. Now 5, just to make this a little bit more clean, basically I want to specify the size of our little tick area. And by what I'm specifying with 5 here is that it's going to be 5 pixels, if you will. And I can come up here and just do a constant int space tick size. How's that?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Equals 5. And I can come all the way back down here, replace that with tick size, and then just simply add the position of our control. One more parenthesis, and end it off. And I'm, of course, casting that over to an integer, so nothing gets, no warnings or anything. So now I just need to draw this quad out, which is going to simply be a 5 pixel wide, or however many pixels we specify wide quad. So let me copy this entire thing here. Just go down here, paste it in. Almost exactly the same as when we did our button, I believe. Or actually all of our other controls.
Yeah, it is.
So current x plus our tick size. Let me just copy this entire thing right here. Copy, thank you.
Paste it at the bottom.
Yep. And current x is going to be in here, and so on.
Nice.
And then that's it.
Change our color a little bit. Do 0.3, 0.3.
We want it to be a little bit blue.
1, yeah.
0.3, 0.3,
1.
And we'll set it to be a little bit more transparent, because we are stacking quite a few things on here, so it's going to be quite bright. And then let's go ahead and draw our color for F, and then we're going to draw our... Getting more lazy as I type, which is okay. Draw our text for our label. And this is simply going to be IGL. We're drawing this actually inside of our slider. So position X plus 2, top left actually, position Y plus 2, and simply draw out our label. Dot data.
Cool.
So let me see how many errors I get. Oh, who rocks? All right, so let's go ahead and include this guy in here.
Buzz does for staying on top of you that time around.
Yeah, whatever. So let me go ahead and include one of these. But I do need a variable that I can start modifying. So let me go ahead and go up to the top here just to create a global variable test value. And I'll set that to say 5.0f. Okay. And I'll pass this pointer to it. So let me add control. And I'm going to create a new, slider. Label, we'll call it test value. The min, just no colon. The min is going to be negative 5.0f and positive 5.0f. The position, 0, 0. And then let's specify a large width and a 40 height, something like that. And let's go ahead and get this slider. So
that is a large width, dude. And maybe 200?
Yeah. No, but 200 is all this. Okay, 300.
Okay.
300.
Compromise.
Yeah, compromise. And now we need to set our value, because that needs to be, set. So set value. And that's going to equal our test value, I believe I call it. And we'll need to pass the address of our test value. Does that look right?
Mm-hmm.
To make sure I didn't make any mistakes. All right, so let's give this a whirl.
Huge.
Very huge. So check it out, though. We can actually modify this, and it works exactly the way we want it to.
Awesome.
So as we move this, the position is actually changing.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is perfect, in fact. And we can click around here, and
you can't drag it past the end.
No, you can't drag it past the end, or
rock on. So
I can still notice that my control is not drawing the outline around the other two while I'm dragging, because this control has
controlled.
It's totally controlled, so the other guys can't do anything about this.
Awesome.
So there we have it, a fully working slider control.
Beautiful. I think this is going to give us all the controls we need for doing the particle engine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. As you guys seen after you saw how Button was put together, the rest of it's been really straightforward.
Very much so.
So with that, that's going to wrap up this video. Thanks a lot.